All right, guys. Well, we got the Silver 330 Ti back in the shop. Got a couple last finishing touches we need to get done so we can move it down the road. And we got our setup over here. Flex disc, center support bearing, rear diff bushing, the forward rear diff bushings, trans mounts. If I need them, we'll check them out. But we're there, we'll probably end up just throwing them in anyways. So let's get started. All right. So from underneath, first thing we need to do is disconnect the exhaust pipe at the downpipes. If they're crusty like this, it's going to be a lot of fun. I would soak them down with a little bit of penetrant. And if they break off, it's not a big deal. They're just studs, and you can put regular hardware in there. Back here, there are two support plates. I took one off already. There's 4 13 mils on either side. And all the way back, we got just a couple hangers, one on this side, one on the other side of the muffler. That section can come down. We got all these heat shields that got to come down after that. Let me take our drive shaft out. First here at the diff. Then generally what I do, because that's usually impossible to get to the backside of this flex disc, is I'll actually support the trans and drop the trans mount. That gives you a lot more room. We can disco the drive shaft. And then back here, we'll need to disconnect both CV shafts. You got 2 mount points up front. We'll have to take this bar off as well. And then the rear mount. And then the diff will come out. That just gives us a little more room back here for this bushing. I'll have to raise something up to press that in and out. Top tip with these e-torques, they can fill up with gunk and grime. Make sure you get in there and give them a little love tap before you pull them out, or before you start wrenching on them, because you'll just twist the heads right off. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue on dropping this exhaust. We'll get this heat shield out of the way. It's just held in with a bunch of 10s, then I'll bring it back. So we got all the angles. We've got the heat shield out of the way. The exhaust is down. Usually I'll stick a floor jack right underneath that support brace that I left to drop the exhaust down. It comes right down, doesn't fall on your head, which is always nice. Here you can see our flex disc. It's not in terrible shape, but you can see the rubber starting to crack. So we definitely want to replace that while we got it out. Our trans bushings don't look too bad, but I got them and they're super cheap. So we'll throw a set in. We got to take that bar down anyways. Let's see, our center support bearing actually looks really freaking good. So I think we're actually just going to use that. I'll check it once we get it down on the ground. This one you can see has butyl tape between it and the body. Later models didn't use the butyl tape. It's okay to use it. It's okay not to use it. Back here you can see our CV from the prop shaft to the diff. That's in good shape. Isn't slinging grease everywhere. We'll take all those e-torques off, drop that down. And then we got to take this support bar, which we'll probably take the support bar off first, and then move our way forward. All right, so we got our drive shaft out. So I always leave the 13s for last, basically just so you can get the ends broke free and you don't drop it. And you really want to be careful you don't drop it and hit one of these ears. They'll break off because this housing is aluminum. Here you can see that butyl tape. This actually looks pretty good, so I think I'm just gonna leave it. I think someone put a new one on. This joint looks really good. Here we've got our old Weebo, and it is squishy. Got lots of cracks in it. And you'll notice on these, they have arrows. So one arrow points towards the drive shaft, and the other arrow is gonna point towards where it bolts to the transmission flange. So what I did, basically just to keep it kind of simple, so all the bolts, the heads are on the rear end side of the flex disc. The nuts are on the transmission side of the flex disc. So I just pulled the drive shaft off, then did the bolts to the transmission, left one in place, matched up the arrows on the other one, matched up the face the same way, and then we'll go back, then we'll go ahead and we'll slam it back in. So I'm gonna put this on now, That way I don't forget my orientation. And next step is to drop that diff out. All right, you can see we got our new flex disc in, the new transmission mounts in, got the mount itself back in. So that end is all good to go. On this end we got our CVs disconnected both sides. So next thing we got to do, support the diff, take these two front bolts out, and then we got one bolt back here. So we definitely want to support this with the jack. We don't want it come falling down our head and kind of make a bad day. Once it's out, I think I'm also going to drop the sway bar, just disconnect and swing it out of the way. It just gives us a little bit more room to work in here, and we're not banging knuckles too much. Well, you can see we got our diff out. Everything's looking pretty much like how I figured. It came out pretty decent. Did have to move the sway bar out of the way. Just gives a little bit more room to work. So I just want to show you just how bad this bushing was. I mean, just without any pressure on it, you can already see the cracks. And I'm just moving it with a, I don't know, what was that, 7-inch, 8-inch bolt. Imagine all the torque when you put it in gear, hit the gas, that thing's flopping all around. It's all kinds of jabonk. I bet I could probably pry the whole center right out of it. But yeah, so that's what we were after. Now if you were only doing the diff bushing, you don't have to take the drive shaft out. But I saw on previous inspection that the flex disc was bad, so it's definitely worth dropping everything down to get it out. And then we're also going to do these front bushings. I really haven't looked to see how bad they are. Actually, they look really good. I think I might just let those be. They're not floppy, cracked. They don't get the stress like this back one does. In fact, I've seen them where they've actually cracked the subframe because people let this go so long. So it's good that we're doing it. You know, thankfully, it hasn't done any further damage, but we definitely needed to replace that. So I think we're gonna leave those front bushings. They look really good and tight. It's so easy to go down the rabbit hole with this. You know, we're 4 bolts from dropping the entire rear suspension, basically, or at least the subframe. I mean, we got to disconnect the R-tab and the shock, but then pretty much everything just comes out. So it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole. I think we're doing all right here. The subframe bushings up front didn't look too bad. I'm sure these ones back here look okay as well. I don't see any cracks in the sheet metal above the subframe either, so that's good. Now, real test would be to totally grind this down, take all the undercoating off, but it looks good. So I think that's where we're gonna end it for today. I'll come back tomorrow. I'll show you how we're gonna press this out, press the new one in, and then we reassemble. And when this thing is done, guys, so. I'm tempted to do the ABC pillars yet, but I don't think we're gonna. I think I'm just gonna list it, see where it goes, and get it moved on. And definitely gonna be sad to see it go. I really enjoy this car. It's so nice. You really would never know that it's got 247,000 miles on it. I mean, look how clean it is. It just blows my mind. So this is gonna make someone a really nice car. So I'll catch you up tomorrow, and we'll finish this up. Oh, all right, it's a new day. We're gonna finish this diff bushing up. So this is a new one. One thing to remember, this is slotted. That is horizontal, so parallel to the ground, and this dot should point forward to the front of the car. So you wanna make sure you get that in the right way. This also has a rounded edge on one end and just a straight edge on the other. The rounded edge goes towards the left side of the vehicle. So in order to get this out, it's pressed into the subframe. We're going to use this wheel bearing kit that I bought a while back. Basically, you need a receptacle, a cap on the end, some threaded all rod, and then a pusher, the right size one to match that. And as we as we crank down on it, it's going to push that bushing out into this receptacle. So I got you guys set up already underneath with the right tool. So let's go take a look. And it looks to me like it's about to get pretty wet. It's thunder booming out. So I think I'm going to close this garage door so I don't get my myself all soaking wet. It's, I don't know, 11 o'clock in the morning. It's looks like nighttime. So let me close the door. Wow. All right, so get you some light in here. You can see I got it set up. Got the receptacle on the right side of it. We're gonna push it out from left to right. We got our pusher, that's the right size, so it fits inside the subframe. And then just a plate on the side, 2 double nuts and some washers. You can pick this stuff up at you know, your favorite hardware store. Just 1/2-inch threaded rod, the appropriate nuts and washers. And then we're just gonna crank this thing out. So let's get to it. All right. And just like that, we just start cranking her down. In a couple minutes, it'll pop out. I'll bring you back so you're not gonna watch me swing a wrench here. So we're about halfway through. Oops. I was just gonna say we're halfway through and all of a sudden it falls out. So we are out. So let me undo this hardware real quick so we can get our contraption apart and see what we've got. All right, so here's our contraption. We just got double nuts. You actually only need 1 nut on the side that's getting pushed to. Just had them both up there so I didn't have to get back out of the car or get back out from underneath the car. When you cut all thread, you want to make sure you leave a nut on there, so because it'll leave a burr, and if you take the nut off, it takes that burr off. So there we go. Just a double nut on this side, a couple washers, another nut on that side. Here's that plate that I used. Here's my pusher, and inside here is our old bush. So here's a better look at those cracks. That is really bad. This thing was cracked all the way through. Wow. You see there's a little bit of surface rust on there, so I'm actually going to go underneath and clean up the spot where the new one's going in. And remember, the round edge towards the left, like this, and we want to match up that our dot goes forward. When we go to install, we're basically just going to do the opposite. We're going to put a big plate on the other side where we want it to stop. Then we're going to use our pusher. I might find something a little different here because I actually want to push on this. I don't want to be pushing here. So I think I might have another cup, maybe in a ball joint tool that'll fit here. I'll see if I got a different cup that'll fit on that because we want to push on the outside of the bushing, not the inside. That'll actually tear the brand new bushing. So we don't want to do that. But when we do, then again, we're just going to put that pusher. Again, we'll just use the pusher, have the bushing oriented the right way, and then just crank her down and it'll seat. All right, so we got our contraption set up. The subframe's all cleaned up. I put a little bit of lube, just some air tool oil. Dawn dish soap probably would have worked good, but I didn't run back upstairs. Box wrench on this side. We got a breaker bar. We got a breaker bar on the other side. We got our pusher with our sleeve pushing against the bushing itself, and then just a big oversized plate on this side to basically stop the bushing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and crank this thing in. I'll bring it back when we're all set. All right, you can see we got our bushing in, and we got our dot pointed forward, parallel to the ground, flush to the back. So our next step is start reassembly the rest of the stuff. So I'm gonna stab the diff back in. I think it's gonna be a combination of maybe the floor jack and some old heave ho, because this actually has to go up and into this area here. So you can't lift it straight up. It kind of has to go at an angle. May end up just being on my belly and putting it up that way. So we'll have to see. But let me get working on that. And then it's just bolting up the prop shaft and the CVs back here, putting our heat shield back in, and exhaust, and we're done. So let me get to work. Well, guys, we got our diff back in place. That was a whole lot of fun. Got both CVs put back on, the prop shaft attached, center support bearing in place, and yes, you're upside down. We got the flex discs all together as well. To get the diff in, kind of used a combination of the floor jack and a little heave hoeing. I ended up fully removing the sway bar. That got just a little bit more room. If you had the rear cover off, it would probably go up even easier, but yeah, basically just supported it by the center with a couple blocks, got it as high as I could, tilted the front up in, slid it in, and just jacked it up the rest of the way until I could get the rear bolt in. So not too terrible, not a lot of fun on your back, but it is what it is. So we got everything together except for our heat shield and the exhaust. So I'm gonna quick finish that up and we are done. Well guys, we done it. We did everything we set out to do with this car and more. This, of all the projects I've had so far in the last year or so, this one by far was my favorite. It's my favorite car that I've done. It's the nicest one that I've done, and I think it really shows. So I'm actually out here getting some pictures done, about to go up on the chopping block and be listed for sale. So if you see it in the Atlanta area and you're interested, drop me a line. I'm going to be putting it up. I'm not sure of the number yet. I really want to get 45 out of this, so I might list at about 48. You see how clean the outside is. Inside is for Dove Gray, and again, this is 246,000 miles, and it's really clean. Now, I didn't get to do the ABC pillars or the headliner. You know, that can be a project for the next person, but I mean, this interior is really nice and clean. The seat, I mean, a little bit of wear, but hell, my gray 330 Ci that I autocross with, the seats are in way worse shape, and it's got 75,000 less miles. You see here, we 247 177. Ignore that stupid jellyfish launcher. It's got LED bulbs in it, and they go off every now and then. But other than that, no warning lights whatsoever. AC is nice and cold. This radio, it works, but there's no sound. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm not worried about it. Let the next person do that. Again, AC works really well. Sunroof opens and closes just fine. And you can hear just how smooth this thing runs. So just a recap to what we've done with this. Bought it $1,600 with a broken idler pulley and chucked the belt. Put new belts, idlers, tensioners, did a full cooling system, the E46 cool kit from FCP Euro. Hard coolant lines under the intake, and while you're in there, we did valve cover gasket, intake gaskets, throttle body gaskets, ICV gasket, brand new CCV system, cold weather package from FCP Euro, all OEM quality parts. Just underneath, we did the oil pan gasket, which was just absolutely nasty. New engine transmission mounts while we did it, new lollipops, new steering rack boots. Then we finished up with the rear diff bushing in the back, new flex disc, and she's good to go, guys. I'm really gonna miss it. I bought this as a flip in January, and I've been every time I need to go out, I take this. It's such a nice car. Hopefully it makes someone a nice either daily first car, college car, something like that. So what do you guys think? I'm just in love with this car. It looks great, drives great. All the big mechanicals are done. You know, the next person can figure out the radio, do the ABC pillar stuff if they like. But other than that, this thing is a wrap. And you guys tell me, what do you think it's worth? And 247K on it, but all the mechanicals are done. I'll throw up a picture of that the engine with the valve cover off. Super clean. Someone really maintained this car. Oh, I did put a fuel filter in it too. So the question is, I started this project with can we buy this and flip it for only $2,500 invested? And the answer is maybe. If we do some YouTube math, yes, absolutely, 100%. $2,500 totally invested in this car would have gotten this thing back on the road. But you know, I like to do the while you're in there's and get a few extra odds and ends done, taken care of, so the next guy doesn't have to worry about them. All in, I'm just under the 3K mark. That's including the price of the car, so which is still not bad considering everything we bought was OEM parts. So I think we did pretty good. You guys tell me. Think this is a good project? Think this is a good buy for somebody at around the 4,500 mark? I'd love to ask more, but I think people will just be too scared of that miles. So I don't know. We'll throw it up and see where she goes. So oh, I almost forgot. We need to take her off for one last little ride to make sure that the diff bushing took care of it, and even just shifting into reverse and back to drive, I can already tell that was definitely our cause of that big clunk. And so yeah, let's just go out on the road real quick and one last little rip. All right, let's one last little rip here, guys. Sorry about a little bit of bounce, and I don't have the selfie stick with me, so I'm just freestyling. But yeah, this thing still moves pretty good. You know, it's not going to win any races or anything, but it's certainly fun, nice and smooth. AC is cold. Probably could definitely use some shocks, but again, that's the next person. They can put in what they like, slam some coilovers, OEM style, little upgrade. That's going to be on them. But and again, I'm going to switch out those stupid LED headlights, and it'll take care of that jellyfish launcher on the front. So, but yeah, one little last squirt here. So this thing's not fast at all, but it's a lot of fun. It's just enough to kind of make it giggle. Sounds great. That's silky smooth inline six. So yeah, I think this is a job well done on this car, and hopefully the next owner takes it to the next level and gets the rest of the you know, little trim work stuff cleaned up. But other than that, guys, again, appreciate it. Thanks all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see what's coming next. And we'll see you in the next one.